Hey guys, welcome back on the channel. In this video, we are going to bank on Bitcoin using Krystal. Krystal, if you never heard about it, it's a great liquidity manager that can help you to bank on Bitcoin, because if you want to have exposure to multiple Bitcoin liquidity pools on multiple exchanges, multiple networks, Krystal allows you to do just that. Although there's some cons to it, which basically is whenever you do a transaction, deposit, withdraw, or rebalance here on Krystal, you will pay a small fee as a way to pay out for the services they are providing. That being said, Krystal can still be very useful, especially while saving you a lot of time to manage all of your LP positions, because you can have multiple of them opened in all of these blockchains, as you can see. And also the exchanges that they do support, they are basically the big players: Uniswap, PancakeSwap, Sushi, Aerodrome. So if you want to yield farm either on Solana, maybe some EVM blockchains, or something else like Hyper, you can do that easily with Krystal. There are still also some cons to it. For example, if you're just going with Solana, before they only did support Radium, and yeah, that is still the case. I hadn't used Krystal in a while, so I wasn't sure if they had updated this or not, but so far only Radium is available as an exchange on Solana, which is not bad at all. I mean, Radium, it's still a big exchange on Solana. You can still find really good pools there, but there's others that will be missing, like Orca, Meteora, PancakeSwap even recently launched on Solana. So if you are very serious about yield farming on Solana, that might be a downside, because you're still limited to, yes, one of the best DEXs out there on Solana, but it's still limited to that, and there's other DEXs you can take advantage of while providing liquidity. So understand that. And of course, all the platforms shown here, not only just on Solana, but they are reputable exchanges. So that's a good thing. And also, when you are looking for liquidity pools here on Krystal, they will not show you all of the liquidity pools for the pair that you are looking for. So you will be somewhat restricted when it comes to that, but they do apply previously some sort of filter. You have your own filters that you can set up, but Krystal itself, they will filter things and take out of the way pools with very low liquidity, for example, very low volume. I believe the minimum liquidity necessary to be shown here on Krystal is 5K. So anything below that will not be shown, even if you're talking about blue chip asset pools. Okay, that's just how Krystal works. So there's definitely some pros and cons to it, but in this video, I'm not going to use Solana's pools, but actually I'm going to open one on Base and also in one of the biggest exchanges, which is Uniswap. I'm going to walk you through the whole process of finding the pool, deploying liquidity, and from there on you can manage everything from Krystal's interface. So let's get to it and explore how to use Krystal to manage our liquidity and bank on Bitcoin. Okay guys, so let's use Krystal this time to find these pools. We can do it manually, going on Uniswap, trying to find the pools. We can also use the X screener to find the pools and then move on to the exchange. There's not just one way how we can do this, but Krystal can be quite helpful, especially for complete beginners. So let me show you how to find hot pools, especially on the Base chain. For example, let's trim this down. We don't want all networks. Remember, we're looking at something on Base mainnet. Although you can search for the best performing pool across all of these different blockchains that Krystal keeps track on. Then there's a ton of platforms on Base mainnet that they do support. They have Aerodrome, SushiSwap, PancakeSwap, and also Uniswap. I'm gonna leave all of those on, okay? So let's try to find now just CB BTC pools, because remember, we are on Base and likely these pools will be the best performing ones. Coinbase actually has a lot of incentives ongoing. I know that on PancakeSwap we can find a ton of these incentivized pools. Let's sort this out by volume to TVL ratio. This is what shows us how profitable this pool has been, and it relates for the past 24 hours, okay? And actually we have already number 2 USDC paired with CBBTC on PancakeSwap. Don't get too caught up on these percentages here, because likely they will not hold, okay? And then you can see here in front of the token pair, we have on top the DEX that the pool is deployed on, and then at the bottom everything is on Base here because we just filtered that, but it shows you the network where the DEX is operating as well. And just because I want to show you how to deposit on Uniswap, we are going to go with this first pool here, which is the best performing one on Uniswap according to Krystal. And remember, Krystal doesn't show all of the pools, they have their own filters in place, so they will only consider pools with a certain amount of volume and TVL. So they will already show you results which they have previously filtered, okay, according to all of those aspects. So I'm going to go and click this. It shows us more info on it. TVL of the pool, current volume. So the volume is good. $95,000 for a $23,000 TVL pool. It's good. Actually, this is optimal. We always want to see higher volume than TVL. That's the case here. So we can go ahead, start adjusting ranges here and depositing straight up with Krystal instead of going and learning how to use PancakeSwap and Uniswap and other exchanges. Krystal is a liquidity automator that can allow us to manage everything within their dashboard. But there's going to be a small percentage that you will pay when you deposit, when you rebalance. You will see that there's going to be a few cents that you will have to pay the protocol in order to deploy your liquidity through them. Because after all, they're doing all of this, they're going to take a small percentage, which is their piece of the pie, because after all, they're providing all of these services to us. So I'm going to switch up here the price range to show this in dollars, and I'm going to set the exact same range that I had here under my positions. So the minimum range here is 100K, maximum 125. Let's go with that. So on minimum, I'm going to input 100,000, and then on maximum 125,000. So let's go click create position. And one of the coolest things about Krystal is that you will see this zapping feature. I don't know if it works for all pools, but probably in all Bitcoin pools you will find this. And zapping means that you can deposit in this pool with any token you have in your wallet. It doesn't matter if you are depositing 100% USDC, 100% Bitcoin. You can have even PancakeSwap tokens or Ethereum or a meme coin, and you'll be able to deposit on the pool using those tokens. Okay, so let me just go ahead, deposit around $20 worth of USDC here. We are going to zap in just for convenience sake. Click approve USDC. Remember that zapping also costs you a little bit more, okay? So you are going to have to pay a few cents in not only fees, but also, as let's call it, a tax of using the zapping feature provided by Krystal. Okay, transaction completed. So now we can go ahead and complete this by clicking Zap Now, confirm Zap, the rate has changed, accept it, sign the transaction in my wallet. It's going to cost us around 6 cents, probably much less than that, and it's done. So I'm going to go click close. Now that our liquidity is already deployed, we can get it to be shown here on Krystal. We can see that the position we opened last week is already shown here. This is on the Binance Smart Chain on PancakeSwap, and it shows everything, the PNL, unclaimed fees, current liquidity value, but it's not still showing up the position we just opened. And that is because I need to toggle this on, view as strategies. I don't know why, but if I turn this on, then it shows up. And actually the other pool that I just mentioned, this one USDT BTCB, just disappears. I'm not sure why that is, but in any case, we can use Krystal to keep track of all of these positions and even rebalance, manage, claim, whatever we want to do. So you can see the age here. I opened this about 1 hour ago. I was waiting for this to show up and refreshing the page, and actually eventually I came across this button here, view as strategies, and I found out that I needed to toggle this on in order for this pool to show. I opened it with the same range, so we can see here the minimum price is at minus 10.79% of the current price, and the max price is at 11.5% above the current price. If I toggle this off to show the other pool, you see it's virtually the same thing. Minimum price minus 10.9, max is 11.29. So it's pretty much the same thing. And from here on, I can just have these positions managed straight up from Krystal. You can use it for free, but remember, whenever you deposit, you zap in, and also if you are going to rebalance, you are going to pay a small percentage to Krystal. For example, if I would go right now and try to manage this position, I would click it. On the right side, there's the rebalance function. I can rebalance, and notice this, the liquidity's value currently is 20.2. And if I would input here a minimum price just based on ranges, let's say I want to rebalance with minus 5% and plus 15%. Notice that the new liquidity would be worth 1 cent less, 20.19, and the current liquidity is worth is 20.2. This difference comes from the fact that you are going to pay a small percentage of your transaction, and this difference is what we pay Krystal in order to use the platform. Krystal is great for beginners and even for people who are more advanced. If you have your liquidity spread across multiple pools, multiple DEXs, multiple blockchains, Krystal can give you a very useful hand to manage all of that. There's other platforms like METRIX Finance, but METRIX, although it has a free version, in order to make the most out of the platform, you do need to go and pay for the pro version. So do understand this about Krystal. It's free to use, but you are going to pay whenever you interact with these pools through Krystal. Of course, you can always go directly to the exchange. If I just go to app.uniswap.org, then I can click pool, view positions, and it's going to show our current position here. It shows us the current APR. I don't think this APR is right, to be honest. It's very high, but then we can manage the whole thing straight through Uniswap's dashboard and just do whatever management actions you want to do with it. As you can see here, add liquidity, remove liquidity, collect fees. But of course, with Krystal, you have everything in one dashboard, multiple exchanges on multiple blockchains. So it's going to be much more time saving when it comes to that. And there are other protocols we can use like Revert Finance, VFAT. I tend not to use any of those, to be honest. I rather to manage my liquidity straight from the DEX, because when we are using also all of those other protocols, we are adding on a new layer of risk because we are no longer interacting directly with the DEX, with the liquidity pool, but we have that interaction made through another platform. So there's more smart contract risk, although so far nothing like that has happened, and we hope it to keep that way, right? And this is also something you can do so that you can understand which pool is performing best. And if we eventually find that one is performing much better than the other, we can simply remove some liquidity and move it on, deposit into some other pool that is performing much better. So these are just a couple of the things we can do. And that is also how, in a nutshell, we can use Krystal to find new pools, deposit on those, and bank on Bitcoin. And that's about what I wanted to share with you on this video, how to use Krystal to find pools, deploy liquidity on them, manage them. So if you want to bank on Bitcoin, generate some cash flow little by little by doing small deposits every single day, every other week, this is how you can do it and grow your bag over time. Remember, this is the first one I opened on PancakeSwap, and it already paid out a substantial amount for the liquidity that I deposit just within a week. It's like I keep telling you in many of my other videos, you get results through DeFi which are light years ahead of traditional finance. And this is how you can use it. Anyone can do this. It's not rocket science. So let me know if you have any questions down under in the comments. Hope you took value from the video, guys. If you did, you know the drill. Like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching. Take care. Keep exploring crypto, guys. I'll see you on the next one.